You know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop.
Big Meech believed he was poised for a legendary resurgence. Everything was lined up. But in a shocking twist, he found himself trapped in a storm of chaos. And the whispers on the streets are pointing fingers squarely at Rick Ross. Ross appeared to be the ultimate ally, flashing his wealth and loudly endorsing Meech's return. Yet when push came to shove, that unwavering support was nowhere to be found. The comeback concert Meech pinned his hopes on? Cancelled. The lucrative deal with 50 Cent? Off the table? And Ross? He slipped back into self-preservation mode, leaving Meech out in the cold. What once seemed like a triumphant return has unraveled into a string of crushing defeats. Fans are now buzzing with questions. Did Rick Ross sabotage Meech's comeback? And perhaps more crucially, is there still a path forward for Meech? Or is this the final nail in the coffin of his return to glory? Let's break it all down and see if Meech can still turn this mess around. Big Meech stepped out of prison with a swagger that said, "I'm back." In his mind, he was ready to reclaim the throne, convinced he could jump back into the game without missing a beat. But the game had changed. The streets weren't waiting for him to pick up where he left off. He was about to learn that lesson the hard way. One of Meech's first big moves was reconnecting with Rick Ross. The two seemed to have a natural synergy, and Ross was quick to fan the flames, showing off cash like it was no big deal. Yet it begged the question, why would a man who once ruled a multi-million-dollar empire, who had locked down a massive BMF deal with 50 Cent, stoop to chasing after such a modest stack of bills? The shocking truth? Meech had burned through it all. Every cent. The luxury cars, the mansions, the lifestyle gone. Desperation drove him to new lows. Meech turned away from 50 Cent's lucrative backing in hopes that Ross's connections could provide a much-needed lifeline. It was a gamble born of necessity, not strategy. At one point, he was so strapped for cash that he even expected Lil Meech, his son, to step in and bring some serious money to the table. But here's the twist. Lil Meech wasn't rolling in it either. Father and son found themselves in eerily similar predicaments, both facing the harsh reality that their once limitless financial resources were now just a distant memory. With cash reserves dwindling and the Meech household hanging by a thread, the situation looked dire. But Rick Ross? He didn't just see a crisis, he saw an opening. An opportunity to position himself as the hero of Meech's story. Ross played it perfectly. He strutted into the picture as if he were the knight in shining armor, ready to help Meech rise from the ashes. While 50 Cent was busy firing shots at Big Meech in the media, Ross stood tall, talking a big game and projecting an image of unwavering loyalty. He wanted everyone to believe he was Meech's ultimate ally. Ricky rose to the rescue, but here's the catch. None of it went according to plan. The first move in Big Meech's comeback strategy was to secure a serious cash flow. Ross, with his trademark swagger, decided the fastest way to do that was to organize a massive benefit concert. He partnered up with EXO Touring and AG Touring to put together a star-studded event that would not only celebrate Meech's return, but also flood his pockets with much-needed funds. Ross pulled out all the stops. He hyped the concert to the heavens, using every flashy trick in his arsenal to generate buzz. The stage was set, the lights were bright, and the crowd was supposed to go wild. But as we all know, reality doesn't always match the hype. Big Meech's big moment came crashing down in the most humiliating way imaginable. Just hours before the concert was set to start, a shocking announcement from Amarant Bank Arena hit like a freight train. Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show has been canceled. Refunds will be issued at the point of purchase. In one cold, clinical message, the highly anticipated event vanished into thin air, leaving fans stunned and Meech reeling from the disappointment. Of course, rumors began to swirl like wildfire. Many fingers pointed straight at 50 Cent. Whispers of a behind-the-scenes sabotage campaign gained traction, with insiders speculating that 50 had been pulling strings to get both Meech and Rick Ross blackballed from the industry. Whack 100 only fueled the fire, claiming that's exactly what went down. And 50? He wasn't content to just let the cancellation speak for itself. No, He rubbed salt into the wound with a sarcastic Instagram post. He shared a screenshot of the cancellation notice, captioning it with biting humor. "I had nothing to do with this. Please stop calling my phone. I sincerely hope you have a nice day today. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm stronger than you think I am." If that wasn't enough, he doubled down by posting a video from Zip with the Drip, where the user spilled the tea about Lil Baby and other artists pulling out of the concert. It wasn't just a setback for Meech, it was a public spectacle of failure, leaving fans and critics alike wondering if this was the final nail in the coffin for his long-awaited comeback. Despite the waves of bad press, Big Meech refused to back down. Even as the concert debacle reverberated through social media, he was already scheming his next move. Meech knew he had to keep pushing forward, no matter how many doors slammed in his face. Behind the scenes, whispers grew louder about a secret project Meech was working on, one that could potentially shift the narrative in his favor. Sources close to the situation hinted that he was in talks with several high-profile artists, plotting a surprise collaboration that would blow the industry away. If successful, it could restore his tarnished reputation and put him back on the map in a way no one expected. But Meech wasn't just relying on music to make his comeback. He was exploring business ventures, looking into everything from fashion lines to media deals. While the streets debated whether he still had what it took, Meech was determined to prove that his hustle never faded. He wasn't just chasing money, he was fighting to rebuild his legacy. Whether the world was ready for him or not, Meech wasn't about to give up. Meech's inner circle was buzzing with activity. Despite the public setbacks, the people closest to him believed in his ability to turn it all around. While the outside world saw a man on the ropes, his team saw a man on the verge of a reinvention. Meech knew that bouncing back would take more than just a bold announcement or a flashy move. It required a calculated step-by-step approach. The first step? Reconnecting with his core audience. Meech began laying the groundwork for a grassroots campaign, engaging directly with fans who never stopped believing in him. Online platforms, pop-up events, and intimate interviews, these were all part of his strategy to rebuild trust and loyalty from the ground up. He wasn't chasing headlines. He was rebuilding relationships, one follower at a time. Next, he focused on diversifying his brand. Meech recognized that the music industry was only one piece of the puzzle. By investing in other ventures, small businesses, creative projects, and community initiatives, he was slowly carving out a new image for himself. It wasn't just about making money, it was about proving he still had influence and drive. As his team continued to push forward, they knew the path wouldn't be easy. But in every setback, they saw an opportunity for a comeback. Meech's journey wasn't over, it was just beginning a new chapter. All the while, 50 Cent kept stirring the pot. He jumped on social media again with another cutting caption. The funny part is, they were saying Lil Baby pulled up on them in a Ferrari truck, pockets full of money, and didn't give them a dime. Lil Baby was 5 when you got indicted. WTF. What does he owe you? Tammy Cowan coming soon. This wasn't just shade, it was a knockout punch. That one post crystallized the public perception. Big Meech had lost his shot at redemption. The concert cancellation had been his last best hope of regaining his footing, and now that hope was gone. Meech's entire comeback plan had evaporated, and while everyone debated how he might recover, a more pressing question loomed. What was Rick Ross going to do about it? Ross had spent months making grandiose promises, swearing he'd help Meech climb back to the top and rebuild his empire. But when the chips were down, when the concert was scrapped and the industry backlash hit, Ross ghosted. Instead of stepping up to the plate, he vanished. A single brief video acknowledgement, lasting mere seconds, was all Ross offered about the fiasco. Then just like that, he moved on. Ross turned his attention to his own projects, promoting his events as if nothing had happened. While Meech's name became synonymous with failure, Ross went radio silent on the entire ordeal, leaving Meech to face the fallout alone. Even now, Rick Ross seems far too preoccupied with promoting his own ventures to give a second thought to Big Meech's struggles. Fans have taken notice, and let's just say they're not impressed. After all, many see Ross as the one who lit the match that burned down Meech's bridge to 50 Cent. Without Ross stirring the pot, There wouldn't have been any need for the doomed concert in the first place. Had Ross not meddled, Meech could have relied on the millions 50 was ready to provide. The concert wasn't a golden opportunity, it was a last resort forced by Ross's interference. Fans are now saying what was obvious all along. Ross was never truly in Meech's corner. Online chatter and even industry insiders like Whack 100 called it out from the start. Ross's actions were more about boosting his own profile than supporting a friend. And as for Meech trying to patch things up with 50, that ship has sailed. 50 made his stance painfully clear. In a since-deleted Instagram post, he even revealed text messages from Lil Meech, who had confronted him about the public attacks on his father. The messages read, "They just told me you unfollowed me on Instagram, and now you're managing Skill Abba with Rock." The writing is on the wall. Ross is out for himself, and 50 has washed his hands of the situation. Meech, left stranded in the middle, now faces the harsh reality that both men have moved on, without him. Lil Meech couldn't keep quiet any longer. He vented his frustrations, saying, "When I was the one who brought him around you first, when you didn't even know who he was. Now you're mad at me? I would give you the shirt off my back. I can't believe this, man. You act like I'm your enemy when all I've ever shown you is love and loyalty. I'm human. I go through my own stuff, but I never switched up on you." In the same breath, Lil Meech addressed his father's complicated relationship with Rick Ross, claiming it was purely about survival. "Screw Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet stuff is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." But these words didn't soften 50's stance at all. 50's cutting reply? "What next season, little ninja?" He didn't stop there. Adding insult to injury, 50 mocked Big Meech's financial situation, posting a fake GoFundMe page on Instagram. The caption read, "Help Big Screech pay his $30K a month Airbnb. That's one of P's cribs, shout out to quality control." It was brutal and public. The message was clear. Big Meech's comeback was in shambles. But just when it seemed like Meech was completely out of options, Rick Ross surfaced with what looked like a final offer of help. Taking to his IG stories, Ross teased, "I want to do a real BMF movie, theaters only. Which director? Antoine Fuqua or Quentin Tarantino?" He even mentioned it in a video clip, making it seem like he was genuinely considering the idea. Was it a genuine lifeline, or just another one of Ross's attention-grabbing stunts? Only time would tell, but for Big Meech, it was a glimmer of hope in a sea of disappointment. It seemed like a move that might salvage Big Meech's reputation, earning respect from someone like Ross. But fans aren't buying it. They see a guy who couldn't even organize a concert and, even worse, dragged his entire family down with him. This wasn't just about one bad business decision. Meech's family was benefiting from the BMF series, thanks to 50 Cent's executive producer credits. It wasn't just a title, it was steady income for everyone involved. Now that stream of cash has dried up. Fans who have followed the BMF saga are hardly shocked by this outcome. If you've seen the series, you know loyalty was never Meech's strong suit. He always went where the money was, whether or not it aligned with his crew's best interests. That's the real difference between Big Meech and 50 Cent. While 50 has always upheld the loyalty BMF was supposed to stand for, Meech stayed true to the hustle itself, not the people around him. And rather than owning up to his mistakes, Meech has been quick to shift the blame, pinning the fallout on Rick Ross. But let's face it, Ross saw this coming a mile away. He knew what he was walking into. The real question now is whether Meech can claw his way back from this mess, or if he'll try to turn the tables on Ross for leaving him high and dry. What's your take on this drama? Can Big Meech turn it all around, or has his legacy taken a permanent hit?